For people who've never seen my videos, I've been sitting at Master Tier for the combat achievements in this game for over 3 years. Not because I didn't think I could go for Grandmaster, but because I just never found the motivation. I've spent years helping others get their Zuck helms, and now all those players I helped are rocking theirs. Meanwhile, I keep getting asked in game, hey, when's your Zuck helm? When are you gonna get GM? When GM? Well, after all this time, I can finally stop people from roasting my newbie Slayer helm. This video is just going to be a ramble about my experience finally achieving Grandmaster, and why I think that pretty much anyone can do it as well, and what's next for my account. Let me start by saying that in 2025, getting a Zuck helm is way easier than it was a few years ago. All the gear upgrades, including the new Delve boss that's coming out really soon, just make it more accessible. Sure, there's like a few tasks that are genuinely tough, and there were some that nearly made me want to punch a hole through my monitor. But honestly, Grandmaster these days is just more about perseverance than actual skill. If you've made it to the Master Tier, you already have the mechanical skill. From there, it's really just about refining mechanics and putting in the time. Remember, OSRS is basically a rhythm game. The more you play, the better you get. Things that feel impossible now become second nature with enough practice. So yes, even you with your Firemax kit, you can get the Zuck helm. You just need the motivation to stick with it. Take it from a washed up player like me. Having said that, if you're thinking about going for a Zuck helm, I do highly recommend you have essentially max gear. Without having all the BIS weapons and armor, it's going to become much more challenging, and even I don't think I could achieve it. So now that you know that you can also achieve a Zuck helm, what tasks did I personally struggle with the most? Let's go through the list of bosses, and I'll just highlight which ones I think were difficult. I'm going to assume most of you thinking about going for a Zuck helm already have Master CAs done, so I'm just going to cover what personally gave me the most trouble, and any CAs I've heard have given others trouble. So, assuming you have max gear and you're already like Master CAs, I don't think any of the Slayer bosses should give you any trouble. Those CAs are all really free. In terms of DT2 bosses CAs, the only ones that might give you trouble would be the GM speedruns, which require some RNG, and also is like a gear check. But then also Blorva. Blorva, is pretty difficult for a lot of players. So I would say of the DT2 CAs, that's probably the most difficult one. And I would actually say that Blorva is mechanically the hardest thing, like in terms of all CAs in general, like all the CAs combined, all the Grandmaster CAs, I think Blorva is probably the hardest. So yeah, there's those. In terms of the 3 raids, there's Chambers of Zarek, which I think has been power crept a ton with Surge Pot and Double Death Charge and Oath Plate. Like, you should be able to melt home really easily nowadays. So I don't think that any of the Chambers of Zarek CAs are hard anymore. My advice would just be, make sure you build up team synergy, make sure you run with like the same group of players. If you're trying to go for like the group speed runs and you're having trouble, run with those same players, because if you keep changing up players, it's going to become harder. So I don't think you should have too much difficulty, but if you are, make sure you're running with the same players, and that way you can build up some team synergy and you just get quicker and quicker. In terms of TOB, I would say definitely like Perfect Theater, which personally I did not find super difficult. It's not mechanically difficult at all, actually. If anything, like you're just playing carefully, which is less mechanically difficult. You just have to play well for like 20 minutes straight and not mess up. That's basically it. So for TOB, I think all the speedruns have been power crept. I would think the only one that would give you trouble would be Perfect Theater, which you should run in a 3-man scale and run with the same 3 players. Don't try to alternate people. If you have the same 3 players that want to go for that combat achievement, just stick with those 3 players. If you believe in their mechanical ability, yeah, stick with those 3 players. Sometimes there's that one person who really just shouldn't be going for it because they're not comfortable enough with the raid. In that case, maybe find someone else. But when I went for it, it took me about a week to get it. I think maybe a week or two like on the weekends. I didn't really play that much during the week. And I want to say, like, I feel like I personally messed up maybe 10% of the runs, and there was definitely my other teammates that messed up a lot more than me. But maybe I'm just imagining things and I have messed up way more than them. Who knows? But overall, it wasn't even that bad. Well, I like TOB, so for me, it was kind of fun to flame my teammates. But yeah, I did not find it that bad. But that would be the only ones that I think you should really struggle with in terms of TOB. In terms of TOA, the 8-man speed run, I honestly just went to Mulgo Kirby's stream, and this is like a year or 2 years ago. He helped me with those, so I can't speak to how easy or hard those are nowadays. I imagine with all the new gear that has come out into the game, you know, with double death charge and you don't use oath plate at TOA. Double death charge and just like ZCB, surge pots. I would imagine it's probably a lot easier now, and I'm sure with like all the upgrades that are going to come with the Delve boss soon, it should be even easier. So I think the hardest part is probably just finding players to do it. Like you need to find 7 other players that are decent at the game and can go reasonably quick. But I don't think mechanically it's really that hard. You just kind of click boss and spam your specs. And, you know, you just get the speed run. So I would maybe check out Mulgo Kirby's stream, see if he still does those 8-man speed runs. I don't know if he still does. It's been a long time. But he's the person who helped me with mine. The other ones from TOA that could be difficult would probably be Insanity. That was kind of difficult. I mean, I didn't find it too difficult, but I know a lot of other players do find that one pretty difficult. So I would just say get really good at Insanity at Wardens. Make sure you can do it damageless. And also Perfection of Het or Perfect Akka. That one's another one that is quite difficult. So I remember it took me 3 hours on release to get that CA done. But I think Akka's way easier now with all the TOA changes. There's way less of those white balls during enrage phase, so it should be way easier nowadays. But those are the only ones I can think of at TOA that give you trouble, like the speed runs and those perfection tasks. Besides that, obviously Coliseum. Oh man, I hated Coliseums. I don't know. I mean, some people think that Zug CAs, like Inferno CAs, are harder than Coliseum CAs. I found it to be the opposite. I think Inferno is way more forgiving. Like, if there is a bad spawn, you can usually get rid of, like, a ranger or a major, or not a major, but you can get rid of a ranger or a blob really quickly if you get a bad wave. But at Coliseum, you can't just, like, one-shot a ranger. It's, like, pretty tanky. Like, the majors are pretty weak and paper thin, but like the rangers are super tanky, the manticores are super tanky. So I struggled so much with Coliseum. Like going through them right now, let's see which ones I had trouble with. Where's Coliseum? Fortis Coliseum. There it is. Yeah, like I had trouble with showboating. I had a lot of trouble with the speed chasers because up until 2 weeks ago, before I got the speed chasers, I had never done a melee Coliseum. And I was always under the impression that you have to do a melee Coliseum to get the speed, like the speed times, which actually is not true because I ended up getting the speed times with a hybrid of range and melee. So you don't need only melee. You don't need to do a melee only Coliseum to get the speed run. If you're good at melee only Coliseum, chances are you already have the speed time though. But yeah, you can. If you're really bad at Coliseum like me, you can do a melee and range hybrid or a mage and melee hybrid or whatever. I'm sure there's like it's not a hard time to get if you're good at the Coliseum. I just suck at the Coliseum, so that's totally a skill issue. Reinforcements. Some people put this like on their top 5. I put this at number 1 for me because Coliseum in general was like I would say the speed runner is like my number 2 hardest, and reinforcements is like the hardest one. It only took me 4 days to get, but man, I wanted to quit so hard when I was doing this achievement. It's like it's like me being bad at Coliseum, plus you have to have the RNG to get the invocations that you need for this. Just was not fun. So showboating I struggled with too, but definitely not as hard as reinforcements for me and Coliseum Speedrunner. These two are like my top 2. This one's maybe like in my top 10 somewhere as well. And then yeah, Inferno CAs, I found them way easier than Coliseum. You might find them to be the opposite, where the Coliseum ones are easier than the Inferno. I don't think any of the Inferno CAs took me more than 5 tries. Like the Floor is Lava, I think it took me 2 tries. Wasn't even close. This one took me like 4 tries or 5 tries. So this one was like the hardest of the Inferno CAs. Jad, what are you doing here? This took me 2 tries, I think. And then Inferno Speedrunner, I got it first try. I mean, just barely, but I got it my first try that I tried to go quick. And and there's a lot of guides out there by like No Monkey on how to go quick. Just always be doing something. Don't be idle. The same thing with Coliseum, right? If you're struggling, just be hitting something. If you're hitting something all the time with piety or rigor or whatever your offensive prayer is, if you're hitting something at all times, you should get this. If you're in max gear. So there's that. And then I guess the only other hard ones would be the Jad challenge, which is the 0 prayer fight caves. That took me like 4 or 5 tries. I cheesed it with max prayer gear, like even like proselyte chest and sunfire bottom. Like I wore literally max prayer, the max prayer that I had with a T-bow, like because T-bow's gonna hit no matter what. So yeah, I cheesed that kind of. I didn't use purple sweets or anything. Some people use purple sweets to tiki everything and basically have unlimited food. That's another way you can cheese it. I just lazy flick the entire thing. That's what I did. Takes you a couple tries to get the timing down. Took me like 4 or 5 tries, like I said, but that's the hard one in there. And then the other last one I would say is that gives a lot of people a lot of difficulty wasn't a fluke, which is 5 into 6 Jad for the Jad challenges. I think it took me 45 minutes. Like I practiced 5 Jad individually, and then I practiced 6 Jad individually, and then I did 5 to 6 Jad. Individually, when I was practicing 5 and 6 Jads, I died a ton, like probably like 40 times. But then when I actually got comfortable and I was like, all right, I'm gonna try for the 5 into 6 Jad. It took me 2 tries. So like I did 5 Jad successfully, died on 6 Jad, and then I was like, all right, let's do it again. And then I got 5 into 6 the very next try. So overall, took me maybe like an hour, like 45 minutes to an hour to get this CA done, like including all the practice I had to do. But yeah, some people have trouble with this one. This one is like a pure skill. Like, can you prayer flick for 10 minutes, essentially, between 5 and 6 Jad? Can you prayer flick without messing up? And you can even mess up once or twice. It doesn't mean you're dead. You know, there is some RNG in there. You could just get hit. You could like miss flick but not die, and then you can get back up. You know, so but this one is quite literally like just skill. Can you prayer flick? And so yeah, that's pretty much all the CAs I had trouble with out of all the CAs on here. Like I said, so really quickly before I go through my goals, I think it kind of ties in with like the bank, I guess. So it hasn't really changed much if you've seen my bank video from the beginning of the year. The only notable one probably is the Amulet of Rancor S, because I got the Nid Pet finally after like 2,800 or something like that. Still missing Ancestral Legs, so I think that's a goal. Ancestral Legs, so more chambers. Woohoo! White Oath Plate, that's definitely a goal. If you look at my Yama log right now, it's really, really, really bad. So I have 1 Oath Plate piece in 1842 KC, so I kind of want a green log because I think the pet's pretty cool. So I think I might just try to go for a green log at Yama, get enough contracts to do the White Oath Plate challenge without having to practice on my main. And then so yeah, White Oath Plate, Ancestral Legs. Another one I think in general is Collection Log. I do want to go for the Gilded. This will take a long time. I don't know if I'll ever actually get it, but I'm going to try to go for it. So it's a lot of clues, Champion's Cape, mini games, still some bosses. Not that much in raids, but yeah, that's a lot of clogging I want to do. So, and then I guess another one would just be pet hunting, but that's part of clogs as well. So yeah, I would say the Gilded Clogs, Staff, Ancestral Legs, White Oath Plate, and then just pet hunting. Those are probably my goals for the near future. Like I have still only 1 nightmare item I see here, so I might do some more Fosanis. I have one Fosanis drop in 650 KC, I think, so that's really bad. So I might go back there and see if I can get lucky. I'll just really quickly scroll through my bank. I don't think much has changed. Another stupid goal that I always like to work on is just I want a max cash stack on an Iron Man, because why not? Which is why I'm also super stingy on all my supplies all the time, and I don't like to use runes and like my charge scythe and whatnot. So yeah, so that's probably another goal is just to get a max cash stack. I'm currently at 1.3 bill cash, so I need another 800 mil, something like that, to get the max cash stack. So maybe like next year or end of next year, I'll get it if I don't quit this game by then. But yeah, I would say that's pretty much it. Is mainly just clog. I mean, it's essentially just clogging, clogging, and this transmog, a white oath plate. So those are the 2 goals I have before the end of the year. So if you've made it to the end of this video and actually listened to me ramble about how I think pretty much everyone can achieve Grandmaster on old RuneScape, first of all, thanks for listening to me ramble. This is kind of like the first type of ramble video I've done. I guess I've done like bank videos in the past, but I've never really rambled about something. And I mean, GM, like, it's a cool achievement. I always knew I could get it, because I don't think you actually have to be that good at the game to get it. Like, just because I have a GM helm doesn't mean I'm really good at the Inferno, doesn't mean I'm really good at Coliseum. Like, honestly, it's getting a GM helm just kind of shows baseline. You're decent at the game, you know? So, yeah, anyway, thanks for watching the video. If you've watched up to this point so far, I don't know when my next video is going to be, because once again, I only make videos when I kind of feel like it. I might make one when the Delve Boss comes out. If not, I will probably make another like bank video at the very end of the year at the very least. So, you know, maybe one more video by the end of the year. Woohoo! One video every 6 months. Let's go, baby. But yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.